Well, good evening. How are you guys today? How are y'all tonight? Thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to be talking with some amazing women about a topic that's very important, how to handle Mother's Day and holidays while you're struggling with infertility. But we're going to get started in about 2 minutes while people continue to see that we are live. And so we'll talk to you soon. But welcome to Coffee with Cade. We're so happy that you decided to join us. So you guys have big plans for the rest of the week? A lot going on?
A lot going on with work.
Okay.
Getting ready for the big day, Sunday.
Big day, okay.
Big day, Mother's Day. I'm looking to be served.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay.
I am just enjoying finally spring.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
Work's busy, but I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So once again, welcome to Coffee with Cade. This is one of the Cade Foundation's programs that we host monthly, really to serve families with infertility. This is a conversation, not a presentation. So I've got two fantastic women who are going to share their perspectives on how to overcome when you're still waiting to become a mom. And because Mother's Day is upon us, that's the holiday, and that is a holiday that is so important for women, particularly women who are waiting and who are trying to become parents. So we're going to deal with Mother's Day, but I think some of the things that they're going to share about are really going to be relevant for all holidays. So let me introduce our fantastic guests. First, we have the indomitable Mrs. Phyllis Bontrager. So welcome, Phyllis.
Thank you. Welcome.
And
I'm so glad.
Yay! And then we have the incredible Mrs. Karen Heyward West. Thank you for coming, Karen.
Thank you for having me.
Hi,
Hello.
Phyllis. Hey. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're here to talk first about infertility and overcoming. So Phyllis and Karen, I'll throw the question out if you guys would answer. Tell me a little bit about your journey through infertility, and particularly with an emphasis on how you dealt with holidays while you were navigating infertility.
You can start.
Well, I guess one of the things for holidays for me, especially Mother's Day, I grieved my mother for so long that I really didn't focus on myself. After I got married and we were really interested in moving forward with a family, initially it was like, oh, well, what's going on? I can't get pregnant. Is it me? Is it you? Because, you want to play the blame game.
Hey.
What's going on? And I was an older bride at the time, so I didn't really focus on trying to get pregnant earlier because, it was about career, doing everything like you're supposed to, according to what grandmama said. And it just, as the years went on, and it wasn't that many, because we wanted to get pregnant right away, realized that there's some challenges. And so a really good friend in New York was like, oh, you should consider adoption. And, at that time, I wasn't told that I couldn't get pregnant. I just hadn't gotten pregnant yet. So I was like, oh, you're right. I worked at that time in the field of working with children and families, especially, in undeveloped communities and challenging. And I saw kids, and I always loved children. And I said, well, you know what? We can adopt, and we can still work on conceiving. And so that's how I kind of dealt with it initially. But as the time went on, I got really concerned, like, wait a minute, something's not happening. What's happening? And the doctors would say, well, just not yet. You need to think about trying this. Have you thought about that? And, I just kind of retreated to, I'll just do adoption. And I'll worry about it later. And then much later, I found out that I had lupus.
Oh,
and the type of lupus that I had caused me not to be able to conceive.
Wow. Okay.
So that was a whole nother stressor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's unpack that a little bit, because it's, everybody doesn't have the same experience, right? My struggle is not your struggle, and her pathway may not be my pathway. So for you, the holidays weren't as big of a challenge because your focus was on the larger family, on your mother, on other family members.
Right. And still always being surrounded by children.
Okay.
Children that I had met over the years, and I kind of, took in as mine.
Yeah.
So, I had nieces and nephews, and everybody loved KK, and so I got cards and gifts and calls and emails and stuff. So it really didn't really hit home. And so I would say after I adopted my daughter, and Mother's Day was coming, and she asked a question about, her birth mom. And so I was like, how do I respond to that? And, it did trigger some feelings about, well, no, I didn't give birth to you, but you came from my heart.
That's right.
And I went through all the stages, of a pregnant woman, the whole nesting and cleaning up and getting ready and all the stuff. So, but, prayer.
Yes.
I'm very spiritual. I just believe that, God chose this way for me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you.
Mm-hmm. Phyllis, how did you handle it?
A lot of self-care. For
Okay.
me, it was purposeful. It was planning. Sometimes I couldn't plan, so I would avoid holidays, not so much Christmas, but for me, Mother's Day, I would, Kent and I planned every Mother's Day to not go to church because there were too many things that would remind us of being a mom or a dad. So for us, it was purposeful not to go to church, and instead we would always get flowers and plant our peppers or flowers or whatever else that we could do to bring life into our world instead of feeling the depression of that. That would have been actually all the way through our marriage. We have done that.
Oh, even
Mother's
now.
Day, yeah. Although we planted them 2 weeks ago, but it's that purposeful planting to begin spring. So that's been kind of carried on.
That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I'm hearing from both of you is your journey doesn't have to look like everybody else's journey.
That's absolutely correct.
But it's okay for you to experience whatever that feeling is, that emotion is.
Absolutely.
So don't feel like if I'm not doing what she's doing, then there's something wrong with me. These are, both very women who love God, who live their lives in a way that reflects their faith, but, they both approached it very differently. And that's okay. So I want everyone out there who's watching this to remember whether you want to go to church and, worship and celebrate your mom and the women in your life, or you want to stay home and plant, or you want to stay in bed and eat chocolate and watch Netflix.
That's right.
All of those are okay. All of those are okay. So no condemnation. We just want you to, be good with wherever you are, even if where you are is not good. I just want you to feel affirmed and your feelings are legitimate. And I think that Phyllis mentioned self-care. That's really important. You can't pour into other people if you're empty.
That's right.
And so definitely continue to think about ways that you can nurture yourself while you're grieving and while you're waiting, so that you are full and ready once you do become a mom. Whether you became a mom by birthing a child, or as Karen mentioned, there are family, friends, or children in the family that you can love on and support and speak joy and love into their lives. There are all different kinds of ways to express motherly affection, and it doesn't just have to be a child that you birth. then, Karen, you've shared that you adopted. Well, I didn't birth my children either. And, we've talked about that. We've talked a lot about that because they have my heart. And, they were in here for a long time. And, I'm grateful that they're out here now. And, mine are now 13 years old. But, we didn't come to motherhood in different ways. There's still another woman who carried both of our children, but they're still our kids. That's right.
And mine too.
And yours. Hey! That's
and mine
right.
too. Yeah.
We got, yes.
Yeah. So for us, it was, we got pregnant with triplets and miscarried them at different times. And so I will talk about the holiday after that. So it was Thanksgiving. We miscarried the first baby at Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving. And then by that Christmas, all of the babies had miscarried. So I was walking into Christmas with my husband's extended family who had 3 people pregnant. And I had just lost 3. So the grief that was there was pretty real. And again, self-care, how do you self-care when you don't expect, like, what do? I'm going to be in the house. I'm staying at the family's house. I am in that space. And so for me, it was important to say right up front. So Ken and I were pretty open about just going through this. And so it was very clear. I said, the beginning of the holidays, I just said to the family, I need to take care of me and Ken needs to take care of him. So if I get up and leave, you are not to feel badly about that. It is for me to take responsibility for me. If I can't, you need to experience the joy you're having. This is your first babies or your second babies. But for me, I need to own this myself. And I need to take care of me. So if I go for a walk, if I have a glass of wine, if I journal and pray, I will do that by myself, but I will need that space. And that worked, kind of.
Okay.
I mean, it's not beautiful. It's a really hard thing to do when you're surrounded by what you just lost. But at the same time, it wasn't that anybody was putting that in my face. It was just the reality that was there. You got to keep living, but you're still feeling like I felt like I was dying. And so I think there are moments on the journey. So we did IVF and got pregnant and then miscarried. And then we chose a year away from everything.
Yes.
So after we miscarried, because we had been trying infertility treatments for 2 years, we did 3 times of IVF, IUI. Yeah, we did the gamut. And it just didn't work. I had great eggs, 8 eggs, but no harvest. And so it was really painful. So Ken and I did a memorial service that November in memory of the kids, but also at our church, also for the ending of fertility treatments. So we did a service of remembrance and celebration that this is time for us to stop. And that was something Ken and I chose too. We had went to counseling before we started all the treatments. We found out we were infertile pretty soon after we got married. And so we were very clear. We went to counseling before, and the counselor said, you need to be listening to each other, which means if you want to keep going, but your husband doesn't because he is worn out, you got to stop. You got to hear each other. You got to find that space. And so we always said, we will know when it's time to end. So after I miscarried, both Ken and I looked at each other, it's time.
So I got to unpack that because there was so much good in there. So let's take
Okay, I'm sorry, I kept
back.
talking. But
no, but this is so good. So, number one, you were transparent. So you told the people around you what was going on. And that can be scary because sometimes we hide infertility. We kind of pretend like,
well, and people want to make it better. And it's not going to be. Like, you can't say, relax.
No, you can't relax.
I can't. I could go hanging upside down and it's not going to happen.
Right. But what you can do is talk to your family and your friends and say, this is what I'm going through and this is what I need you to do. Like, be specific with them.
Yeah.
Even if that is, when I come and I talk to you about something, don't give me advice. Just listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I step out and I'm crying, I don't want you to follow me. I just want to take a few minutes, collect myself, and I'll come back when I'm ready.
That's right.
Because sometimes they don't know what to do.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's painful for them. They want that for us. They see that you would be a wonderful parent.
Oh,
it's painful for them. And I don't think I quite understood how painful it was until my mom said to me, that was a terrible time watching you.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that so deeply for you. And it was just painful. And I wasn't there. I just didn't know how to be there.
Well, so what we're going to encourage you all to do is tell them what you need.
Yep.
Even if it's uncomfortable and embarrassing and you don't even feel right saying it, but just be honest and say, and I love you, but this is how I need you to interact with me. And even for people who have kids, if you are good with being around babies, then that's great.
Yeah.
Continue to engage.
Exactly.
But if you need a season of, you know what, I love you, but we're going to have to talk on the phone. I'm not coming to the baby shower. I will not be at the first birthday party. And it's not that I don't love you. It's just, I can't.
Yeah. I think that's the thing for me. And then so we took a year after all that, and in that process realized what is most important. We want to be parents.
Yes.
And we don't have to be biological parents.
Yes.
So that is when we started the journey for adoption. And so 11 months later, we get a phone call one night. We pick our child up the next. And so we became instant parents.
And that's another story. We're going to unpack that in a little bit. Now, I see we've got a couple of comments up there. Thank you for sharing. A lot of hearts up there. Okay, so this is impacting some people. You all feel free to send in your questions, send in your feedback, your comments. This is supposed to be interactive. While we're sitting here, we want to engage with you. So let's continue to unpack some of the things that you said. So you talked about being honest about your feelings.
Absolutely.
And you talked about different ways that you provided care for yourself. And some examples you gave were journaling.
Yeah. Prayer,
talking to God.
Go walking. I would walk a lot because the intensity of the room.
Yes.
Like, it's all that. And you're like, everybody's supposed to be that picture perfect Christmas or that picture perfect Mother's Day. And whether you lost a mother or whether you are mourning, wanting to be a mother, it's still not perfect for you.
Right.
And so how do you handle imperfection or what it's supposed to be, this family card? It's not. So I went a lot of times and I would just walk.
And so, Karen, you talked about your real feeling of discomfort being after you had already become a mom. Once you have brought home that beautiful baby girl who is absolutely gorgeous. If she's watching this, you're gorgeous. But when she started asking questions, how did you then, what was your strategy?
To be honest, to tell her the truth, be totally transparent, but I still had my own inner feelings about it. I wanted to be able to tell her something totally different, but I had to be honest.
Yes.
And just share with her, the truth. and and ultimately what was wrong with me, medically, and why, I could not conceive, and so that was very hard for her, because in her mind, at that age it was, well, I've lost my birth mom, and I don't want to lose you because of this, awful medical condition that you had. So it was really difficult, because, I'm just grieving the fact that, I couldn't provide you with a brother or sister, because initially it was, we'll adopt and we'll still conceive.
Yes.
So just lots of prayer, honesty, and even to this day, we still talk about it.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it.
Okay. So something else that I don't remember what it was that mentioned, but I know that you both have talked about getting counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another really important way that you can overcome while you're waiting. Don't feel like I've got to be completely broken and, not unable to get up and go to the work and, continue with my daily life before I have to go to a counselor. It's okay to plug in for care while you are waiting.
Yeah.
Can you all speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. I just think didn't necessarily go to a formal counseling session, but really good friends I just talk to all the time.
Yes.
And they would check in on both of us, my husband and I, and and we were just okay. We were in a good position and a good space because we had people to talk to. No one shunned, oh no, what's wrong with you? Or, why are you going to go do an adoption? You don't know what you're getting, People were very supportive. And I think it's because we talked to the right people. Now, did we have some negative comments from some people? Absolutely.
Okay.
But not negative as in you shouldn't do this. They just didn't know any better.
Okay.
Because that never happened, in our families before. And it was like, wow, they're really stepping out and they're going to take this chance, quote unquote.
So how did you handle that?
Didn't respond because initially it hurt.
Okay.
Just the fact that, does mom know that you're doing this? This was one of my in-laws, and it's like you have to educate them, but not today.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we still don't really talk about the comment we made, and it's so interesting because he loves my daughter.
Well, everybody loves her.
He loves her. Always worried about her. What she's gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gotta give her the best. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And I'm saying to myself, but it was you that were like, what?
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna do. So,
yeah. So Phyllis, how did you handle those friends or family members who may have said things that were hurtful, whether they understood that they were hurtful or not? Because sometimes people don't know.
So at the same time that I was pregnant with the triplets, my best friend was pregnant with Olivia. And another person, a couple of other people at our church were. And there were lots of comments, people mean well, but they want to make it better. And so I don't think, so again, being honest with them or yourself. What I loved about my best friend, Amy, as she said, I want you to take the lead in it. So that means I'm not going to talk about how tired I am. I'm not going to talk about how crazy this 2-year-old, her brother, Olivia's brother, Connor, is making me. And I have a baby ready to be born. I'm not going to talk about that. What I want to talk about is, how are you doing? What's going on with you? And what happened through that experience was being able to embrace her pregnancy. So when Olivia was born, in fact, 2 weeks from now, or a week, next week, she will be, 19. What I recognized was that Amy and Kent and I the space to be supportive and I was able to, the day that Amy brought Olivia home, she said, if you want to come to the hospital, you guys can come, but we're going to be home real soon. It's up to you. We went there the first night, and that night, Amy let me go up into Olivia's nursery and sit and hold her and rock her by myself. And I cried and I cried and I cried. But it was the most healing thing that I probably ever did, because it was embracing a child, because they would have been the same age. The triplets would have been the same age. And then when we got Ian, Olivia and Connor were like brother and sister to him. And they were at the airport waiting for us. But it was that honestness of myself and that friendship that allowed me, like I valued what I learned from that, to embrace a person where they are instead of giving them the words to say. She said, I don't have any words. I don't know what that feels like. So what I want to do is have you tell me. That was huge.
So what I'm hearing is you guys both had good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we pick our people to kind of be open and transparent with versus those who may not be ready?
I had to like cut some relationships off.
Okay.
I will be honest in saying that. Like, I had to kind of put a boundary up around me.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to just walk up and say, hi, I'm infertile. I can't have children, and I don't want to hear about yours. I don't want to hear about how tired you are because you're pregnant. I just don't want to. Thank you very much. So I had to choose who I knew. And there were people that I told and didn't know what to do with it, and we drifted.
Oh.
And I was okay with that.
Okay.
It was the season for them to be really involved with their kids.
Yes.
But I couldn't. I yearned for that too much. And I taught at the same time. So I was teaching every day with 4-year-olds. Every day I would show up to work. And every day I would hear, well, you're going to get pregnant because it's in the water here, because lots of people are getting pregnant.
So if somebody says that, tell them you're lying. It's not in the water, and that's hurtful. We got to just start speaking truth to people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Stop saying these little things that make you feel more comfortable, because it makes me feel really sad. So I hate to wrap this up, but we that quickly have flown through 30 minutes. So
wow.
I really want to thank and celebrate Miss Phyllis Bontrager, who ultimately did become a parent, a mother, and her son Ian is 17 years old.
Going on 40.
All right, and super handsome and smart and just an incredible young man. And then Mrs. Karen Heyward West, whose gorgeous daughter is 16 years old.
17 in a minute.
Oh.
17 in a minute. So the last thing I want to leave you all with is just hope and encouragement that if you don't give up, at some point, somehow you will overcome. They overcame.
Yes.
I overcame. You will overcome. I also want to do a shameless plug. The Race for the Family, Cade Foundation's Race for the Family, hosted by Shady Grove Fertility, is scheduled for Saturday, June 16th. Tickets are available right now at raceforthefamily.com. And for every ticket purchased, you will be entered into a raffle to win $10,000 in fertility treatment at Shady Grove Fertility. So we're going to have a great day. We're going to take over the zoo and Druid Hill Park. So we hope to see you out there. Again, raceforthefamily.com. And you can always give us a call at the office if you have any other questions. Oh, also, Family Building Grant. We are now accepting applications for our fall Family Building Grant, and that will provide up to $10,000 for either fertility treatment or adoption. And so for more information, visit our website, www.cadefoundation.org. I see we got a quick question. This was an excellent session. Lots of great information. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you for Camille for planning this session and for all that you do for the community. We'll be at the race. Yay! All right, you guys have a great evening. And until next time, we didn't have our mugs out, but remember to keep something yummy in your cup or your mug, and we'll see you soon. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!
There you go.